Aloha.
Shout out Pearl Harbor, by the way.
Whoop, whoop. Hello and welcome. We're back from theballerlifestyle.com. It's the Baller Lifestyle Podcast. My name is Brian Beckner. Thank you very much for joining us. Episode number 612 of the program. We appreciate your patronage. We would love it if you subscribe to our bonus content. Patreon.com/the Baller Lifestyle Podcast. Somebody was saying that it wasn't populating or they weren't seeing us on the regular thing. So we're doing the regular show every other week here. Regular show every other week. Bonus content still shows up on the Patreon feed. So you get the regular show plus the bonus content plus my solo show, Bonus Bri, of which there's a new episode up there right now. And also there's a new episode of The Bachelor Lifestyle available on our Patreon feed as well. That's with me and Jay Stu and Reality Steve talking about Love is Blind, the new season of Love is Blind, which is going on right now. And a new episode of that will drop this week. So it's all on our Patreon. It's $5 a month. Patreon.com/the Baller Lifestyle Podcast. Additionally, I would love it if you reached out. Mailbag at theballerlifestyle.com is the email address. And the phone number, leave us a voicemail, 949-464-TBLS is the number where you can leave us a voicemail. I'm joined now, as always, by the great Mr. Ed Daly. Ed, how are you, buddy?
Doing well. I got a delivery today, very quick, from a certain website that only Patreon.
Oh, yeah. Did you get another jersey?
I had worn out my old Jordans. I got a pair of Jordan 3s for $50.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got to get those. Hold on. I'm right.
Jordan 3s. Look at those things.
Yeah,
Jordan 3s. They asked me if I wanted, it's these bad boys.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh, yeah. That's the ones. Yeah.
But it asked, do you want to pay $20 extra to have it in a shoebox or just get it? Yeah. And I got it like a plastic bag delivered today because I don't give a shit.
You're gonna wear them.
Shoeboxes. I'm gonna wear them.
Yeah. So one of my friend of the show, Ryan Beckner, got a pair of black on black Jordan 4s with the box. This was like a couple years ago. I mean, it's impossible to tell the difference, Ed. Like it's like they make them in the same factory.
Care. Yeah. They just keep the machines running, and they're like, Nike, we're done. We're good. We're good.
To 10,000 for you, 20 for me. Okay, this is how we do the thing here in the Nike factory. I don't
care how it works. I just know it works for me because I just got $50 Jordans.
I'm gonna order some.
Yeah,
I need some. I need some Jordans. I wonder if they have the Andre Agassi Air Challenge available. They probably do.
Yeah, I've gotten some. I got an obscure pair of Nike Airs. You got to be clever with your searches, and you can find it.
Yeah, you know what? There's different stores on that website that I won't say.
Yeah.
If you remember, text me the store you got your Jordans from, because if you get, like I ordered a couple jerseys from there and they were mint. They were pitch perfect.
Yeah.
But friend of the show. Yeah, friend of the show, Travis Rogers, got his kid an Ohtani jersey, and it didn't have the red.
Maybe it just came from Fanatics, because
that's true. They're just shitty.
Fanatics is the worst on earth.
I know. Yes, exactly. Okay, we got a lot to fucking cover today. We haven't been, we're doing every other week now, so that means we're fucking jam packed with shit to talk about. And I noticed that there were quite a few people who we lost this week. In the last 2 weeks.
I've got another one that I forgot to put in there.
Oh fuck, I love it. Okay, let's talk about. R.I.P. El Mencho. I didn't know I had a favorite cartel boss until we lost El Mencho over the weekend.
Well, I found out, by the way, my uncle, my aunt and uncle are trapped in
Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta. They're hiding in place right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's calmed down and the airport's back open. But I was like, this El Mencho guy, one of his mistresses got him, Ed. They always follow the mistress. That's the thing. You don't keep a regular mistress.
Mouthy. They tend to be mouthy mistresses.
Yes, they're not. These bitches ain't loyal. And I'm like, El Mencho, that's the hardest nickname. And I'm like, that's not a Spanish name that I know. So I looked it up, and it doesn't really have a literal translation. It's just he who has bad taste, one with bad taste. El Mencho.
He's a proud dirtbag kind of guy.
Yeah. Yes, total. Yes, amazing. Yeah, they said it came from his love of cockfighting. So look, this guy was just having a good time. He was making sure we didn't run out of cocaine, which is important. That's an important job. And he was fucking his mistress and exist. Yes. What are we gonna do?
Also,
anyway.
When El Chapo had his moment in the sun 5 years ago, whenever that was, I gotta say, I was mesmerized by that soup strainer. I loved his mustache, gorgeous. And I just couldn't get on the opposite side of him. I loved him. Yeah,
he's great. He's great. Now he's alive. I mean, he's in the Supermax.
I was wondering if he's on the lam or who knows.
No, yeah, he's in the Supermax.
He's in the Supermax where they didn't plot him right next to the exit to the. Hey, we're gonna put him in this. We're gonna put him right next to this toilet, which is next to the exit to the prison.
That was so badass. I mean, what an escape! Great. He just fucking popped a hatch next to his shitter and
fucking Andy Dufresne'd it.
Yes, they had a little cart that they fucking ran him down the fucking tunnel with, and he was gone into the wind. R.I.P. El Mencho. Who else died this weekend?
Okay, so the one I forgot, very sad. R.I.P. wide receiver Rondell Moore. I think he was on the Vikings, but never played because he was hurt. He was a Cardinal, but he had this crazy season with Purdue. And like in prime time, I think he beat Ohio State by himself, had like 200 yards. This Rondell Moore, 25 years old, very sad. In his car, died by suicide. Very sad.
Very sad.
Mental health situation, but like fucking a wonderful player in college. Yeah. And like, I don't give a shit about Purdue one way or the other.
No, engineering school.
Like, it seems like a kind of a boring place to go to school, but
it's a real dump. What's the town that it's in?
West Lafayette.
Lafayette is it's a depressed area other than the college.
He was a baller. And I think he had injuries in the pros. He was like a little water bug receiver kind of guy. Yeah. But, mental health, 25 years old, very sad.
Very sad. Terribly sad.
The hammer, and this 2-week stretch, we had some hammers of hammers, but the hammer of this stretch has to be the great Bobby D, Robert Duvall, 95 years old, one of the great actors of all time.
Just fucking so great.
My oldest is a senior in high school.
Yeah.
And all the college submission stuff, like waiting on a couple schools, but like it's all done. So he has a little more time. And I was like, once that happened, I was like, you've never seen The Godfather. Let's watch. And I'm watching him. And there are actors upon actors in these movies where we're halfway through 2.
It's all heavyweights.
He jumps off, but he's he's the best of all. I really think he's the best actor in the fucking Godfather series.
Totally agree. Yeah.
He's so good.
He's so many, he's not the star of that movie. He wasn't the star of any of these movies, and he stole all these movies because he's just
with his eyes and shit.
Compelling.
He's so good. He's
great. Yeah.
R.I.P. Robert Duvall, one of the greats, 95
He lived 95 years, and I believe he was married at one point. Yes. Like maybe like in his 60s, I think.
He was into salsa dancing.
Yeah, tango. He
tango.
married, and Argentinian, a much younger Argentinian.
Well, we know what else about Bobby D. That dude.
Oh, that guy fucked. Yeah. So nice life, just great body of work, just amazing guy.
Okay, R.I.P. to a guy I'd never heard of. Maybe you had. Billy Steinberg. He wrote Like a Virgin, True Colors, Eternal Flame, Whitney Houston's I Get So Emotional, and many other songs. He was 75 years old. Like, you never think about it. There are some people who just know how to write a fucking hit.
They do. Yep, they're out there. And look, I imagine he had a couple of nickels to. I imagine his heirs are doing okay with hits like that under his belt.
Fine.
What a
They're
legend.
doing just fine.
Yeah.
RP James Vanderbeek, 48 years old. 2 weeks ago, it was profoundly sad. It doesn't mean it's not sad, but every video I saw of him in the last 2 weeks, I was like, not as great as not as great as I was hoping. Because he always seemed nice in videos I had seen versus what I hadn't.
Yeah. Oh. You
Still
mean
sad.
His performances? Are we like he wasn't a good actor or
needed to move to an area where there were real Americans kind of thing.
Oh, really? Yeah, he did live in Texas.
Yeah.
Fucking the colon cancer got him, Ed, and he's only 48. And normally you don't even get checked till you're like at least 45. And like that one just that's not one you want to get. R.I.P. Dawson. Get your colonoscopy. I've gotten one. I did. I'm clear for 10 years. And
bad.
What?
I only got the 5-year clear.
Oh, you had some polyps. They went in there and they had to peel a
couple small polyps, and they go, "We're only going to give you the 5-year out."
5-year. Yeah.
It's the prep that kills you. This is the prep.
Yeah.
Prep's a lot.
It's the drinking of the stuff, the shitting, and then the fasting. I was talking to a buddy of mine, that's a colon cancer survivor. And he was like, "Hey, I'm doing a 5-day fast this next week." And I was at his house for the Super Bowl. And he's like, "I'm doing a 5-day fast starting tomorrow." I'm like, "How is that even possible?" And he's like, well, that's how I kick cancer. He's like, "I know that my fasting, because it's cell renewal, right? Like all the weak cells die when you don't eat because your body's trying to stay alive. So they get rid of I don't know the science behind it, but I'm just like,
I love eating.
I could barely make it one day on the fucking for the colonoscopy, 24 hours.
I had dinner 2 hours ago, and then 15 minutes before the show, I was like, need to have a few nuts. I had a handful of almonds because I just need to eat. Yeah. Bummer.
You just need something. You just need something. You get a little peckish. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. R.I.P. Bud Cort, the star of Harold and Maude, 77 years old. We've exchanged texts about this. First of all,
what was that movie?
He was 77. That means he was in his 20s in that movie. I thought he was 14.
I know, that was kind of weird. Yeah, because he was the whole point of it is she was an old bag and he was young and they fell in love.
Not Mrs. Robinson, because Mrs. Robinson was hot.
No, she was Anne Bancroft? 80 years old. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's super
Anne Bancroft was hot.
So hot.
This Maude was. She was very much a Maude.
Very much. Yeah. Old as the hills and twice as dusty, this Maude. Yeah. And this, and spoiler alert, I mean, the movie came out in the 70s. They commit suicide. They Thelma and Louise it at the end. And I'm telling you, my dad showed me this movie. He had a VCR and he was like, "Hey, you got to come up with shit to do with kids."
The pacing in that decade worked. It was tough.
Well, that's what you're talking about The Godfather, which is great. But it is a slow burn for a young person, It's a long.
With my son, I'm kind of talking through. I can tell when the scenes are slowing down, and we're analyzing what just happened because there's a lot of shoe leather in these movies.
Really
they're showing guys walking places, so I'm trying to pump it up to them by just, hey, let's discuss what we just saw, kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah, because also you miss a lot, Yeah.
What's the shoe leather? It's just old bag. It was so boring and weird.
Yeah, my dad showed me that movie when I was 6 years old, 7 years old. I'm like, what kid is watching this shit?
I saw one random old Hollywood guy say, R.I.P. Bud Cort used to show up at my parties with 3 guys that look like the Brawny model, and you'd go upstairs with a bag of cocaine, and we wouldn't see it to the end of the night. He was, he was up to it.
There's all those outtakes of him working out with Arnold down at Gold's Gym.
You showed me pumping iron outtakes with him.
He just wanted to be hanging out with it. Look, he wasn't into Maude. All right, like he just like Maude. He was really acting in that movie.
He was putting in a performance because he did not care about what Maude was selling.
No, not at all.
R.I.P. Jesse Jackson, 84 years old. The dude was very much. He was like the Forrest Gump of civil rights thing. Like he was rubbing MLK's blood on him.
Yeah, he was in Memphis.
That's where he got his start. He kind of, he really leaned into that. But the guy had some great opinions like 30 years ago talking about the rights of Palestinian people and shit. Like he was, he was flawed in calling New York Jaime Town and shit like that. But but he had some good shit. Like, Also, there's some iconic pictures of him playing basketball against Marvin Gaye.
I haven't seen that. That's amazing.
It's a great picture. He's in his suit and he's taking Marvin Gaye to the hole.
I feel like I'd be able to ball up Marvin Gaye because he'd need to stop to smoke crack so many times. Like it's like he can't, I just wear him out.
Or you just talk trash. You talk about daddy issues. And he's going to struggle. We've talked about it. It's always saddest when the gorgeous ones go.
People. Yeah.
Eric Dane, R.I.P. Grey's Anatomy, Euphoria star, married to the Noxzema girl, 53 years old, ALS. And I feel like it wasn't that long ago. It was announced that he had ALS.
Dude, it was like 8 months ago. Ed. It was last year. Yeah.
So sad.
But that's one of those ones. And I don't know.
Probably prefer the accelerated path.
Yeah.
Because look, I've known of some people that had it and had it for longer than 8 months, and it's rough.
What about the Hawk, Stephen Hawking, or as others call him, Stephen Hawkins? He lingered with that ALS for 50 years.
So, forgive me, I've talked about this with several people, but I saw an opinion about when the Epstein files came out, and they said, if he assaulted you, maybe that's on you.
Yeah. Yes, I saw this too. Yeah. I saw this.
You could just wheel him into the ocean. Be like, sorry, this isn't your day.
Push him off a balcony. 100%. Supposedly, he had some weird proclivities, including watching little people do math. That was what got him off. And I don't know if that's true or not. But you know what? Everything's believable now. Yeah.
Frequently was at strip clubs in London and cheating on his wife, and you're like, this fucking guy?
He fucking he left his wife because he was having an affair with his nurse. And then he married his nurse.
And they made a romance movie about it. It's like, no, he was a piece of shit. He was not a good dude.
He was smart. He wasn't a good dude,
but he was not a good dude. Well, also, terrible to look at. He was terrible to look at.
The teeth were a problem. What was going on there? The ALS affected his teeth. And do we know he was smart, Ed? Because I tried to read that book he wrote, and they're like, "Oh, here's where he revolutionized everything." I tried to read that book.
No idea what chaos theory.
I couldn't get a page. Couldn't get a page and a half into it. I didn't fucking understand what he was saying.
Chaos theory was a bunch of bullshit. I don't know any of it.
Bullshit.
Yeah. This was one of those famous guys we grew up knowing existed, but I don't. If he died 35 years ago, I wouldn't know. But R.I.P. Bill Mazeroski, Pirates legend who won the 60 World Series with a home run in Game 7. 89 years old. Good run.
I believe he's a Hall of Famer too, just based on that. Because he wasn't. He
beat the Yankees, so people. Yeah, everybody was cheering for him to win that World Series.
Right. He was like Steve Pearce or David Eckstein, where he was just like a jobber, but he had he hit that one big home run, and it was the only walk-off home run in the history of the World Series. And it was like, Bill Mazeroski. Holy shit.
R.I.P. Bianca Diaz, influencer, 27 years old, complications after major plastic surgery. I have a buddy who pointed out, I think we're about to see influencer deaths like WWE deaths. Like,
oh yeah, they die quick. Yeah,
right. We got a lot of botched plastic surgeries.
Well, they're rich.
Balcony falls.
Yes,
there's a lot going on coming up.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
R.I.P. Jane Bear, animator on Sleeping Beauty and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, 91. Now, maybe she did more, but that's a hell of a barbell. Like,
they used to have to draw that shit, Ed. They really drew that shit.
But did she go dormant for like 40 years? Sleeping Beauty was like the first movie.
Yes.
What were you up to, Jane?
Yeah, Roger Rabbit came out in like 87.
Yeah, we were in like middle school. Sleeping Beauty came out when our grandparents were in 3rd grade. What were you doing in those years?
She was fucking chained to her desk. She didn't get to retire. Maybe they brought her out of retirement.
They treated those animators like shit. And then we outsourced to Korea, and now we don't have to look at how they're treated like shit.
That's 100% true.
R.I.P. Tom Noonan, character actor who always played bad guys. He was in RoboCop. You definitely know him if you're from a certain age. 74 years old. A great bad guy.
Great bad guy. 74, pretty shocking, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, you thought he was 61.
I thought maybe he was.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was going to guess mid-60s in RoboCop, but like, hey, that's why he played the bad guy.
He
showed up at the casting, like the casting calls, and he's like, "I'd like to read for the lead," and they're like,
"No, buddy,
no. You're part of Bodeker's gang. You're not. You're not. You don't have that Peter Weller jaw.
Yes.
You're part of Bodeker's gang.
He's the serial killer in Michael Mann's Manhunter. Yeah.
Yes.
So like very disturbing. He's in
very
Heat
much
too.
like he. Yeah. He's great at what he did. But like
R.I.P. Yeah.
R.I.P. Doug Moe, legendary Nuggets coach, 87. They had great uniforms in his era.
They really did.
Gorgeous.
You know, all the uniforms are so hideous in the NBA now. And why you got to have 13 different versions? You got a home and you got an away. And I know it's to sell more jerseys in China on that website that Ed's going to give me after the show. But like, come on, like you got a home and away. That's it. You got 2 colors. I don't need a black version. None of it.
I was watching a Knicks game. I think it was right before the All-Star break, couple weeks ago, and the great Walt Clyde Frazier is the Knicks color commentator on like half their games.
Yeah.
And the Sixers, and he was just annoyed because the Sixers in their home game had black jerseys. They were doing alternate jerseys. And he's from a different era. And he goes, the Knicks are wearing white and the Sixers are wearing black. And it's at the Sixers. He's like, most women watching this game aren't going to know that the Knicks are the away team tonight because.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I get he's from a different era, but he's kind of right. The home team's supposed to wear white. What are you doing?
You're supposed to wear white when you're at home. You know, that's how you know. You turn on the game, you're like, where's this at? And you go, oh, the Niners are wearing white. You know, like that's how you know.
Okay, there's
no rules anymore. Yeah,
I've never heard this surname before. R.I.P. Timothy Very, drummer for indie band Manchester Orchestra, 42. Very.
Yeah, that's an interesting last name, Timothy Very.
42, too young. Very sad.
Young. Do we know if
very sad, very young? I looked for cause depression. Of death.
Yeah.
He was maybe very into drugs. I don't know. But
42.
R.I.P. Timothy Very. R.I.P. Tracy Scroggins, former Lions D lineman, 56. His family blames CTE. I think we're going to be doing lots of these.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Trey Johnson, former Redskins Pro Bowl offensive lineman, 54. I don't know CTE, but the pictures I saw of him, you can't be 400 pounds in your 50s.
No.
Like, it's going to be, maybe it was CTE or maybe it was something else, but like he was just a giant carriage.
Your heart only has so many pumps in it. And if it's doing twice as many pumps because you're so goddamn big, it ain't going to keep pumping. You got to get on the Jeff Saturday plan. You know, you got to get on the Nick. Charger center. I can't remember his name, but you got to do that thing where you get real skinny. Yeah. After you play, because, a lot of these guys are having to eat to keep the weight on while they play. Right. Obviously they're naturally big guys, but you can't go out like Kevin Duckworth and just, keep eating Big Macs all the time.
And then finally, R.I.P. Blake Garrett. He was a child actor, a very blonde-haired towhead. Yes. Starred in the movie How to Eat Fried Worms, 33 years old. He was diagnosed with shingles a week earlier, but you don't die from that. You've talked about it. It's painful,
horrible.
But I assume at 33 there were other reasons and also 33 is young for shingles.
Yeah, I would say that he was probably doing some stuff that weakened his immunity, that allowed that virus to flare up. Yeah. So shingles was a symptom of what killed him, not the cause. Okay, Ed, let's talk some sports.
My name is Brian. They call me the other guy. I host a podcast show. I'll give hetero life a try. If you see something on my hands that makes you think I'm not a man, it's just my cool rings, you see. They're as sparkly as can be. Are mine own Troy on DVD.
Ed, what's popping in the world of sports?
So, big story this week. MLBPA executive Tony Clark, former Tiger slugger. I mostly remember him from that.
Diamondbacks.
He resigned after an investigation reportedly revealed an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law.
Insane. His brother. So Ed and I were going back and forth, like, which is worse? Your brother's wife?
I kept flip-flopping. What's worse?
Yeah. Your brother's wife or your wife's sister? Like, they're both very disgusting. Like, those people are just immediately off limits.
The wife's sister is worse because you fuck up the relationship with your wife because of the wife's sister. You've ruined that relationship.
Yeah.
You fuck your brother's sister. You fuck up the relationship with your wife and your brother.
Yeah. That's worse. Exactly. So I know somebody in my personal life that's happened to. But you pointed out, and this was a great pull, the great Devils goalie Martin Brodeur.
Yeah, French Canadian.
He went sister to sister.
Yeah, he did.
Whoa.
He also believe he tuned up that one sister before he moved on to the other one.
Yeah. Now,
this great at goaltending, bad at husband.
Big time. Now, I was looking and I couldn't tell because one of them is pretty attractive for an older lady.
Yeah.
The
new one, the one who he got a job with the MLBPA.
Yeah. Yeah. That's troubling, right?
Looks like she might be from a horror movie.
She looks like she could be. She looks like the kind of person that if somebody was like, she tried to have her daughter's cheerleading rival murdered, you'd be like, oh yeah, totally. Yes, of course. Yeah, she looks like the type, that's what she looks like.
The caption under her picture could have been jump scare.
Yes. Totally.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this guy's running one of the most powerful unions in organized labor. He's probably making like at least $5 or $6 million a year, Ed.
And he doesn't have to do it.
No, he doesn't have to do, and it's, and he's and it's for a good cause, like he was a player. He's looking out for the guys. He's making sure they get theirs. It's like, there's all sorts of chicks you can have sex with in the world, get a divorce, bro.
I get you have a type, but there are other types that aren't related to the type you're into.
And your brother's wife, dude.
Also,
so fucked up. Yeah.
It's too much beard. We need to have a reckoning. Tony Clark looked like he had pasted on Santa Claus's beard. He's like this big white beard. It's too much beard. It's a white, like a big bushy white beard. That you're only a mall Santa with that beard. It's too much.
He's got to tend to it. And every day he's probably, he goes to a hotel. He needs certain things. He's got to oil it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think he's that old, but he looks old as shit because he's got a long white beard.
Look, if you have a gray or white beard, but you don't make it be 9-inch beard.
Yes. Right.
It's too much. What are you on Duck Dynasty now, Tony?
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Counterpoint, Ed. Hear me out. Counterpoint.
Okay.
He goes anywhere he goes. People are going to be like, "Oh, you're that guy that fucked his sister-in-law."
The sister-in-law fucker.
He shaves that beard off. He's just a regular tall black guy.
I couldn't pick shaved.
You never know him.
Tony Clark out of a lineup.
You never know.
Not at
all. He might have been setting up. Like he grew that long ass beard because he knew he was doing nefarious shit. And now he's going to relaunch as something else and no one's going to know. He's going to start calling himself Anthony Clark. No one's going to know.
This is back to another Andy Dufresne reference.
Yeah.
The warden shows up at his cell and just sees the white beard on the ground. Nobody can find him anymore.
Yeah.
He's a new guy. He's meeting Red on the beach. He's meeting Red on the beach. He doesn't even have a fucking beard anymore. He's a new man.
Possible to know.
Nobody even remembers that he hit 4 home runs in a game for the Tigers once. Then he's just a different guy.
He's gone. He's disappeared.
Okay, the U.S. Olympic hockey team won their first gold medal since 1980.
Yeah.
Nobody made mention of the fact that the Russian team wasn't allowed to participate because of Ukraine, because they're the only team who's engaged in any sort of war.
Israel was there. Israel was there. They were doing bobsled. They were doing everything. Every sport had Israel.
Were.
Yeah.
They certainly were. But only Russia's punished for Ukraine. Anyway, in the locker room, when the guys are all palling around, head of FBI, Kash Patel, was partying and chugging beers with them and dancing to Toby Keith music after the gold medal match.
Yeah.
Brian.
Yes.
How excited are you that taxpayer dollars are flying a private jet for the head of FBI to party with?
This guy needs to be looking for Nancy Guthrie's mom. This guy, what's he doing?
In his defense on that one, she's been dead for like 3 weeks.
Of course, yes.
But also,
I
saw this pointed out. This is not my point.
Ambassador to Italy. What's he doing in fucking Italy?
The FBI has no business in Milan. None. But this was pointed out. This is not my point. But what percentage of that locker room knew that was Kash Patel and it wasn't Cal Penn from Harold and Kumar? How many? It's not my joke. I just thought it was great.
Yes. No. They're like, who's this guy? Yeah. Like, why do you think you get to celebrate with the team? It's the team's win. Like, there shouldn't be any fucking interlopers in there. This is a fucking team celebration. You don't get to just show up and steal valor like that, Cash.
And these both sides are, I promise you, if there was anyone, like, I don't give a shit about any politician. This is not their event. You congratulate them when they're done. I don't want any politician, no matter how Bernie Sanders, I wouldn't want there. I love Bernie Sanders. Yeah. I wouldn't want him. I don't want any. This is their thing. This is not your fucking thing, you loser.
Yeah. Imagine that big old lurch. James Comey flew a private jet. Like, people would be up in arms.
The shit out of me.
It's terrifying. They wouldn't.
He's like a giant car. Car salesman. What were those big balloon things? What they call?
Oh yes, yeah. I don't know what they're called, but I know James Comey. He does look like that. Yes, the Comey balloon.
Fucking freak me out.
Look. Kash Patel was in the locker room for the same reasons that J. Edgar Hoover would be in the locker room, Ed. Like he likes to be around that. It's exciting for him. Yeah, to be with the guy. Hey guys, now that you're done, you want to get those pads off and the pants and everything? Just maybe shower.
Let's shower.
Oh, he's definitely. He's 100% a towel whipper. Yes.
We're gonna stay with the Olympics.
Yeah.
The Switzerland Olympic broadcaster. Anyone who hasn't seen the clip, it's worth seeing. They're under fire for pointing out throughout the entire race that the Israeli bobsledder fully supported the genocide in Gaza, and just the entire run was just going on about this guy was a question and he supported genocide and this and that. And then the Israeli bobsledder came in last place.
Good. Look. You would think, like, if you supported that thing, you would be proud to have it pointed out. Like,
how dare it's pointed out?
Yes. I'm a Dodger fan. I walk in and they're like, oh, here comes Dodger fan Brian Beckner. You know, this guy supported the Dodgers 2 consecutive World Series runs. This guy goes to games. He's a fucking Dodger fan. I'll be like, that's right. I'm a Dodger fan. Yeah. You fucking love genocide so much. Wear it.
Right.
Put it on your fucking shirt. You know, you fucking clap
Make
for yourself.
Genocide great again.
Yes,
whatever. Like,
exactly.
You should be living it up.
You're into that. You know, fucking, you should own it.
Speaking of people who should own it.
Tell me.
Dave Portnoy, post Super Bowl, he said people were being nasty beyond belief after the Patriots lost the Super Bowl, and we should be more positive with each other. He's just trying to spread joy. Is there any part of his history that is trying to spread joy?
No, exactly.
Like the most negative dude on earth. He's such a piece of shit.
You know what would bring me joy is if he and Kash Patel stood back to back and it was a no tippy toes rule. Like, let's see.
I honestly don't know the answer to that. Mm-hmm. They both are tiny. Yeah. Also, I'd like to see a running race between him and Kash Patel because my goodness,
unathletic, both of them. Just no
aggressively unathletic
whatsoever. Yeah.
Sad story. Phillies have released Nick Castellanos, who admitted the final straw in his tenure was late in the season, where he brought a beer in the dugout after he got taken out as a defensive replacement.
Yeah, this Nick Castellanos, I love him, right? I mean, he fucking
gorgeous.
He hits home runs when guys are getting their DUIs announced or getting fired. You know, he's gorgeous. He's 6'4", but I saw him like dog cussing an umpire one time for not giving him a call because he'd been in the league for 10 years. He's like, he's like one of those guys. You know, it's kind of bitch, you know, like I want to root for him, but he makes it hard to root for him.
Yeah. And like that scene in Bull Durham where he's giving him the, like, you can't have fungus on your shoes before you're good. And it's, or however he phrases it, but it's kind of that. Nick Castellanos, they'll love him when he's quirky, and he used to be an all-star. Yeah, when you're not that anymore. When your OPS is like 610, you can't be that quirky, buddy. You can't. You better be ready to be replaced. You need to be a team guy.
Yeah. You're not going to hit any more poignant moment home runs because you're not going to get those at bats anymore. Right. You know, like you're not going to be in the game at that point.
But I will always say his interview question about who's his favorite superhero will always be my favorite. Scooby-Doo. Yeah. Well, he's not a superhero. Well, he's a dog that talks and solves crimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he just looked at the reporter like, "Are you fucking stupid?"
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the best answer ever. You know, like he wasn't trying to be funny, which is great. You know,
he was dead serious. Yeah. But RIP Philly's career for Nick Castellanos. Hope you get back on the right track, but I don't know.
The Padres, I noticed the Padres are doing a lot of Angels things. You know, they're signing Castellanos, they're signing Walker Buehler. You know, they're like, I guess we'll take the guys nobody wants. You know, like that's
the guys that were famous 6 years ago, kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. That never works out. It's always a bad
never. I as a Washington Redskins / Commanders fan.
Oh yeah,
we've been through a lot of. Hey, we're gonna get Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders, and you're like, what
really?
Year is this? Okay. Finally, in sports, Montana linebacker Solomon Tuliapa-Pupu granted a 9th year of eligibility by NCAA.
How does that even work, Ed? 9th year. Was he on a Mormon mission? What's going on?
How do you connect with guys in the locker room? Hey, that reminds me of my favorite episode of Seinfeld. And they're like, Seinfeld? I don't. Hey, do you remember season 1 of Survivor? And they're like, what the fuck?
Hey, we won tonight. Somebody throw on the thong song. Let's get down. I'm
pumped. Hey, anybody have suggestions for music? How about Cisco? What? How about Free as a Bird, Nelly Furtado?
Man, Solomon. I mean, it's like, give it up, bro. Like it's,
also,
9 years.
Buddy, if you don't have game on campus at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
the game should have slowed down for you at this point.
You're a generation older than your teammates. It's like, it's actually crazy to think about. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk let's do some emails. I'm going to find out which button it is.
He's so easy to hate. Your time he likes to waste. His calls are far from great. His calls are far from great. He's such a stupid fuck. He seems down on his luck. His voicemails really suck. His voicemails really suck. No one's enjoying him. He's so annoying. Plus so fucking boring and worthless, but he's got nothing else to do. And he's even worse than ish. His thoughts are useless shit.
Ed,
he's fat and got big tit.
Apropos, I mean, your predictions literally came true as soon as I opened my phone. The song plays. This song takes a minute, I know, because I've had to run before we were on video. I've had to run and pee during that song, and I know I'm able to run, pee, and make it back in time. But instead, I just sat here and I opened my phone, and the first thing I saw was this Daily Beast story. Botched star who spent $175,000 on plastic surgery dies at 34. British influencer and botch star Jordan James Park, who reportedly spent $175,000 on plastic surgery, has passed away at 34. Park, who is online as Lip King, may have been undergoing a cosmetic procedure before his untimely passing on February 18th. Ed.
Oh.
Take a look.
Jordan looks great. Wait, male or female? Female, right?
Yeah, I don't know, buddy. I don't know. Jordan James.
She looks
Take a look,
though.
I don't know what that is, Ed.
And what's with the woolly eyebrows on that picture?
What is happening?
No.
But you said there's gonna be a Holocaust of an influencer accost.
The influencers are gonna be going down. It's like the Luftwaffe is just swarming over London, just dropping influencers left and right.
Per the story, this is a him person, and his death is currently being treated as unexplained, and an investigation to establish the full circumstances is ongoing. So R.I.P. that guy. Okay. You know what? My headphones are starting to do that thing where only one ear works. I'm going to show up one week and not have any headphones. Okay. Voicemail.
Hey, fellas, what's up? Dave in Salt Lake.
Dave.
Doing okay? Feel good.
Good
Dave.
guy.
Just listening to the show. Super Bowl was absolute garbage. I must have had like 10 different bets. I got even on the coin flip at the beginning of the game for $25 for some people. But I don't even think I've watched them in the game. I really didn't. But
yeah,
Ed, I'm with you. You guys know where I'm not.
Ed, I was at a party and the coin flip was heads, and a bunch of people were telling me that they won on the coin flip, and I was like,
"Tails never fails."
How are you picking heads? Who the fuck has ever picked heads?
So I got made fun of at the party I was at because I said tails never fails, and then it was heads, and everybody's like, "Oh, it never fails, never fails." Okay, guys.
Yeah, no. If there's a fucking rhyme, it's tails never fails. It's you always pick tails. Nobody picks heads. Heads, not a cool thing to. There's no rhyme that goes with heads.
Right. Give me a cool rhyme, and then maybe I'll change my position.
Yeah.
Politics are, but I thought the halftime show was entertaining. It was
it was interesting.
His outfit was kind of weird. he looked like a stormtrooper without a helmet.
He did. Yeah, he had
like with
shoulder pads. Yeah.
He was wearing a number.
Yeah.
I really don't know, but that's it. Other than that, I would have liked to know what he was saying, Bad Bunny.
Yeah. But you don't know what anybody's saying.
Cool. I mean, just
but I get what you're saying. Subtitle it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
We could understand. But I'm being dead serious. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I don't get the controversy or the uproar. There's nothing. I think, like I said, that the best word to describe it is like you said. It was interesting. It was kind of interesting and different.
And people just want to be mad.
All right, guys. What do we got going on right now in sports? Not a whole lot. So.
Oh, okay.
Not much to say.
That's true. It's a slow time, buddy.
We got what, a month
for
baseball?
To you guys, I am getting caught up.
Yep.
And stay in touch. Love you guys. See ya.
Love you, buddy. Thank you. That was Dave in Salt Lake.
Love you, buddy.
Yep. Here's an email. Hi, ballers. I've listened to every minute of every show since I found it many years ago. It's tough to write this email to you. Some people don't care after I let them know what I'm about to tell you. I stopped listening mid-show during the last one and didn't finish the show. First of all, I'm not trying to shame or judge you, because if I hadn't had the experience I've had in my life, it wouldn't bother me at all. I'm ashamed to admit, without what I've gone through, I'd probably still use the R word too. Y'all have never said that word the whole time I've listened, but during episode 611, Brian did say something about something was the most R-worded argument you could make. I stopped listening to the show and couldn't finish it. My 8-year-old daughter has Down syndrome. I can't explain to you how that word makes me feel now. Every time I hear it, I get a little devastated, even when it's not used with malice or in reference towards those with special needs. I do feel I have the responsibility to say something every time I hear that word, just to let people know how that word affects people like me. Do what you want with this information. I think there are plenty of words in the English language where one doesn't have to be, where that one doesn't have to be used anymore. Once again, I'm not judging you. I just want to share my experience and be an advocate for people like me who you may have never interacted with during your life. It took my wife and I 6 years to get my father-in-law to stop saying it. I love your show. It's my favorite thing to listen to, and it makes me laugh more than damn near anything else. I appreciate all the work y'all do, and thank you for the show. And to lighten the mood, I have a Daily's Choice, Big Boy or Andre 3000 from Outkast. I've included the picture of my daughter just below, so you know that I'm not full of shit, at least not on this particular subject. Thanks. That's from Adam in Houston. Adam, I owe you an apology, buddy. That was insensitive of me. I didn't realize I did that, but that's probably not a word that should be in my vocabulary for exactly the reasons that you're saying right there. And I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, because that's not something I had thought about before. So, and I wouldn't have had you not shared that with me. So I appreciate you. Thank you. And you have my apologies. That was insensitive of me.
And Adam, I think I'm glad that you haven't heard it. We're a couple of clowns from a certain age, and it used to be a big part, and
that's true.
Doesn't excuse. Yep. But when you were writing this, I wasn't sure where you're going, and I was afraid maybe I said it. So I'm glad it was Brian. But I really have tried to clean that up. And when we were kids, the F word, we weren't making fun of homosexuality. It was just like something. So yeah, we love you and respect you. And it was a slip from guys of a certain age, but I don't
totally
it definitely, we both need to do better and all that, but definitely no malice was meant. You
think you used in the way I used it not, I would never use it to reference a developmentally disabled person, but you don't realize that just hearing it can affect people with that in their life, even though they know that's not the way you intended it. And I know
yeah, in all the years we've been doing this, I don't get the vibe that was like, oh, you know, we're stifling it just for this show. That's just not who we are.
Right. And it also, like even reading that, I'm like, that doesn't sound like me, but you know, I get animated sometimes. And so I'm sure that is exactly what I did. And Adam, I appreciate you sharing with me. And also Ed.
I'll play the music.
Whose dick you looking at?
Baby's choice, it's a choice I make. Baby's choice, watch me shiver while you shake.
Boy, it's a tough one, Ed.
So here's the thing. I definitely liked Outcast.
Yeah.
And I am sad that we don't hear more.
Yeah.
And Big Boy is a girthier dude.
He is. I feel like his dick looks like the rest of him. It's a fire plug. Yeah.
But fire plug. Yeah. So there's something interesting to that. But Andre 3000 is like
beautiful. One
of the more iconic rappers. Like
I feel like his dick looks like him too. Yeah, I like them both.
But Andre 3000 was like the guy.
Yeah.
And I would love to just be next to Andre 3000, take a look at what he's working with, and just go, hooty hoo! Like just I'm choosing Andre 3000, but Big Boy probably has the girthier.
Andre 3000, I think it was last year, might have been the year before. Everyone's like, Andre 3000 is dropping an unannounced album. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I got excited, and then it was like, what? He did a what?
It was just him playing the flute.
This was being John Malkovich. He's doing puppeteering.
Yeah. The guy just plays the flute. And you can't do something like that without having just the biggest, beautiful fucking dick in your pants. Yes. Like you can't, like somebody with just a regular ass dick does not drop a fucking surprise flute album. They just don't. Yeah. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
So he's got a big, beautiful dick.
I'm going
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, Ed, that's plenty for the regular show. We appreciate you. Listeners, you guys are the best. We will see you here in 2 weeks. Consider subscribing to our Patreon, patreon.com/The Baller Lifestyle Podcast. We continue on for the Patreon subscribers of the show.
Goodbye.
Well, it's time for non-sports segment on the Baller Lifestyle Podcast. Non-sports. I'm talking about the segment now. Non-sports segment.
Ed, what is going on in the world of things that are not, in fact, sports?
Well, I just want everyone to be sitting down before they hear this next story because Bonnie Blue has announced she's pregnant after a 400-guy gangbang. So I know we've come to expect certain things, and like sometimes we get thrown for a loop.
It's crazy.
Who could have seen this coming, Brian?
It's crazy. I mean, not me. I, for one, could not have seen this coming. Who would have thought that? Because another time she had sex with like 1,000 guys, right? But that was like, was that over the course of like multiple? It was like 24 hours or something. It was like the 24-hour of Le Mans, but it's Le Mans. It's 24 hours of Le Mans.
And
we
gave a lot of credit to the mop guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He had the toughest gig.
Didn't he end up with an STD or something though? Like there was something with the mop guy.
Blew up the handle?
Yeah. I might have. Yeah, it splashed him.
Got in his eye.
Got splashed. It's a jizz mopper.
So
yeah.
I hope so. Remember the show that there was a simple solution. My two dads. What if we recreated a sitcom and it's My 400 Dads, and she just spends every day for 16 months just living with a new dude and being like, hey, did you do your homework? That's what Dad 286 said.
Clip that. Ed, My Two Dads. What was that chick's name?
Solution.
That chick's name, Stacy. The actress Stacey, a huge fan. And now look, she was 15, I was 14. You know, like this is like, I mean,
just like Alyssa Milano.
Yeah.
We were
She's older than us.
Age.
Yes.
It was always weird though. There was a guy I worked with right out of college, and he was in his 30s, and he used to check the website of how many days until the Olsen twins. And I was like, okay, it's weird for me, and I'm 22, and you are 35 and doing it. Like,
it's a problem. That always drove me crazy about the remember the classic 90s coming of age comedy Clueless, where Alicia Silverstone, Cher Calvin, or Cher, I can't remember her name, she at the end of the movie hooks up with her adult stepbrother Paul Rudd.
And I got to tell you, and he's delightful and so good in a million things and gorgeous.
Yeah.
It took me like 8 years of him being good at other things for me to be okay with him, because I was like, that's the fucking older dude who fucked his sister. Like, I hated him for a while. I think Anchorman, I was like, all right, I do love this dude.
No, he's so great. But you could have written it any other way. You know,
it was
he
so
just
weird.
He just needed the job. Yeah.
Why making him
and it's like
both related and older?
Yeah,
Why?
it's like the writers, the producers, the director, the studio, the fucking actors, everybody's there, and everybody's like, this isn't weird? Like we're just gonna have the high school girl hook up with their fucking adult stepbrother at the end of the movie? How is this a thing?
It's so weird.
It's crazy. And meanwhile, why can't we have some more wholesome content where some girl's moms, the two dads' jizz got mixed up inside the mom, and then she died.
Just two guys spackled guts, and we can't figure out. There's no such thing as DNA testing.
Look,
you're either with BJ and the Bear or this nebbishy guy from Diner. That's it. And those are your choices.
She didn't really have a type, you know. The mom, like she just wanted to get Eiffel Tower, you know.
Yeah, right. They might have high-fived during the act. Who knows?
Yes. Also, Dick Butkus is there for some reason. It just fucking,
and that
what was
judge
going
with
on?
that voice, the fucking voice on that judge. I was disgusted every time she showed up on screen.
Yes, horrible,
awful.
This Bonnie Blue, but Bonnie Blue she has to be so fucking rich now, Ed. Like, what? Like, I get. There's a trade-off, right? Where you're like, I'm going to humiliate myself, but it's going to make me rich. But then once you're done, like, you can go away. No one, like, name a porn star from the 90s. You don't know what they're doing now. They're all dead, but, you know, assume one was still alive. You wouldn't know what they were up to.
You have to feel a little bit bad for her dad. Like Doug Blue or whatever.
He did this. Blue!
Like, it's gotta be a tough pill to swallow where you're like, she fucked how many dudes? Well, surely she's done. Oh no, she did another 400 and she's pregnant.
The guys down at the plant are like, hey, Doug.
We're gonna do a gender reveal, and I gotta rent an auditorium to have all the potential dads.
Sadly, Ed, if you've seen the Amy Winehouse documentary, you know that Doug Blue created Bonnie Blue.
Yeah, Doug Blue was 100%
He
part
manufactured
of the
her. Yeah, very sad.
This next story was like kind of fun to watch, but also sad because this is crisis mode. But Shia LaBeouf, who's famously like sober, Mardi Gras, he really participated in Mardi Gras, and there are videos of him getting beaten up, arrested, and then back on the street drinking like 8 hours later. He's a mess right now. It's very sad. But also, it's always funny when someone's indignant and then they get mashed and then arrested on top of it, like Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, and then they're back. Yeah.
Anytime somebody assaults someone else and they're the one getting arrested, or gets assaulted and then gets arrested, you're like,
it's kind of funny.
You fucked up so bad.
Yeah. You kind of feel like this Shia LaBeouf's such a douche, but it seems like he's only a douche when he's in the throes of alcoholism. You know, if he's when he's sober.
I've seen him like thoughtful interviews when he's sober, and he's
a really
talented.
good actor. Yes.
Yeah, he's talented.
Yeah. But
sad, but Yeah.
He's out there getting
talk
fucked up
shit,
again.
get hit kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So this, I'm going to probably take a stance that's not correct. This Baptist has gone viral. Yeah, it was last night when we're recording.
Couldn't bring myself to watch it, and I can't. It's too uncomfortable.
It's really bad. It's really bad. I love.
It's worse than I'm picturing.
The actor Delroy Lindo so much.
He's great. Get Shorty. He's amazing in Get Shorty.
He's so good in Get Shorty. But he and Michael B. Jordan are just standing there. Anyway, at the Baptist, the British Oscars, host Alan Cumming asked for understanding as a Tourette syndrome campaigner, John Davidson, shouted the N-word at winners and like foul words at presenters throughout the show.
Now, it wasn't the host of Hollywood Squares, John Davidson.
That's what I.
Or that's incredible.
I was like, I didn't even know he's still alive. He's so like tan and that beautiful smile. No, it's a different guy. He's a Tourette campaigner. I went to school with a guy with Tourette's. It never specifically got to this point.
Yeah.
But I'm of the mindset that it's tough, but some people just aren't allowed to participate in everything they do. If this guy can't not shout the N-word at black people at award shows, you can't go. I'm like, and I mentioned this to Michelle, and she goes, "You can never prevent somebody." And you can't have a scenario where people are screaming the N-word at people. You can't.
You just can't, because it's like, if
shit now, like they just gotta smile and take it, because like the two of them when they were presenting, they like everyone hears it in the room, and then they're just like, so the next award goes to, like, they just have to. It's like,
what do you do? Yeah, no, I don't even know like how to process. Like, you can't. So I'm like, so I was like, what's he doing there? And he's there because they made like a documentary about his life with Tourette's. And also, I was 100% sure before this that Tourette's was made up. Okay, Tourette's isn't real. It's not really Tourette's.
I sat diagonally behind a guy, but he just did like noises. He didn't like specifically shout things out. But I know it's real because it definitely didn't do him any favors socially. So
this is in class.
It was in high
school.
High school.
Yeah.
So I know of it, but this, like, the guy cannot go to, if he can't not say, like, walk down the street and somebody's like, "What'd you say?" And then he can be like, "I have Tourette's" or whatever. But you can't just be in a situation where everyone's sitting there and you're screaming the N-word and like other, that was the clip that went viral. But apparently he was like, jawing at everyone because I think it's like, don't say this, and it comes out. Yeah. But like, you can't invite this guy to the show. You just can't. You can't.
Remember that guy
told me I was a monster for that.
I was like, you're right, Ed. I'll side with you. I think you're right here. Remember, here's an analogy. Remember that guy we talked about some years ago that he had some condition where he just was constantly coming, like he just couldn't stop having orgasms and ejaculating, and he was having thousands of orgasms a day. Imagine they made a documentary about that guy. Now, he's not yelling the N-word, but he's sitting in the auditorium and he's just coming the entire time.
Making a mess in the seat.
His handler would be like, "Look, Ted, you can't go to the award show. I know you're so proud of the documentary, but the problem is people don't understand that you're coming the entire time.
They don't need you shooting ropes on the back of their head when they're sitting in front of you.
It makes people uncomfortable with all the coming. Like, everybody's really happy for you, and maybe we can tape something in case you win the award. But it just really, this is the deal. Like, you just make people too uncomfortable, and we can't expect everybody to adjust to you just because you come so much." Right. Same with the N-word guy, right, Ed? Like, he's like, I'm happy that they're bringing light to this condition, but he's yelling the N-word.
But hey, and also, I felt like I was given an extra dose of it last night when this came out on Instagram, because I guess I've liked some videos in recent months. I love watching videos of guys getting mashed for dropping the N-word. Like guys who think they're the guy, they drop the N-word and then they get dropped. And now I get at least 4 a day.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching it. I always like these videos. I love when someone gets punished for bad behavior. Yeah. And then I kept getting this clip of the N-word at these guys at the award show, and I felt so sad for them that they just had to. Sad. It's come on. You're in
the algorithm.
And also, you already had a good run on Hollywood Squares. You don't need to be out in public so much.
Anymore. He was a game show host, but also he had been a singer. He's also a singer, so randomly he'd just be like, he'd
croon a little bit.
He'd croon.
And he just, towards the end, he just mailed it in. He was like, all right, Shadow Stevens for the block. Like they didn't even mix up remember in the early days of our childhood, they'd mix up the order. And it would be Paul Lynn would be in the top right corner.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they'd be like, "Oh,
Waylon Flowers and Madam,
and Waylon Flowers," and then finally it was just Shadow Stevens was perennially in the center.
He worked there. He was a sidekick. Yeah, and he was like always the furniture. Also, Shadow Stevens was a fucking DJ from LA. Yeah. He's just a guy with a really fucking deep voice.
He had a great
and he spelled his name SHADOE. Shadow Stevens. Did you see the one? And this might not be, there was no N-word involved, but there was some dude, it might have been, I think it was in LA, and it was some white dude was at a park, and he was like standing by his car, putting his shoes on, and he told some Mexican dude he was going to call ICE. And the Mexican dude just walked over to him and just fucking clotted him right in the fucking head. And he just, and you feel bad. You almost feel bad for the white guy that invited it, because he had 2 little fucking kids with him. He thought, here's how I'm going to represent myself as a father. Here's what I'm going to show my kids. I'm going to traumatize them by yelling to these people that are minding their own business that I'm gonna terrorize them with the government, because I can do that. And guess what? He fucked around and he fucking found out in front of his kids. It's a great video. Because he gets fucking just dotted right. I was just like, no problem. The guy just walks right up to him and fucking hammers him. Yeah. Okay, what else?
A small town Ohio mayor named Wesley Dingus was charged after a teen girl sniffing her underwear.
Oh, stop, Ed.
Okay.
Only in Ohio.
Where's Katie when you need her? Wesley Dingus?
Yeah.
You need to watch.
It's expected. Yeah. Right. You're going to be accused of this even if you don't do it. You're called Dingus.
This is gross.
Yeah.
But what is the charge for sniffing underwear? What is the charge? I'm not saying it's not wrong, and this guy should definitely not be the mayor anymore. But what is the crime? I guess breaking and entering. But what's the crime itself?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now.
Really gross. It's really gross.
I'm rejecting the cookies here, and then I'm going to read the story. Here's what I hate: when they have that little like opaque ad at the bottom of the screen with the tiniest.
You can't find the X.
It's because it's like whited out. I see, and then you see the X, and it like kind of doesn't let you click it. Fuck that. Oh man. Oh, I can't tell if this is his clothes or his jail. This is his jail outfit. Oh, he's very tall. This guy. A mayor in Ohio is facing 2 counts of voyeurism. Ed, voyeurism is the charge after he was allegedly caught on camera.
That is, those Ohio prison jumpers are diabolical.
Yeah. Reel me this, Ed. This guy, they get this guy sniffing some undies and they get him on voyeurism. Meanwhile, we're supposed to believe that Savannah Guthrie's mom got kidnapped and there's no video of it from her neighbor's ring cam. Right. Like
they had that Super Bowl commercial where they're like, we live in a police state and we have all your ring cams. They were proud of it, and then they were surprised by the backlash. They're like, wait, you guys aren't cool with police state?
Yeah, they're like, no, it's to find dogs. It's only to find missing dogs. We only give all your video to the powers that be in case your dog goes missing.
In case Bosco goes missing.
look, these cameras killed the mob, Ed. Like this is why all those guys in your town had to actually get jobs as garbage men, because you can't do any crime anymore because you're always caught on camera. A couple months ago, this also happened in Ohio. Some dentist and his wife get murdered in their home. Very rare, right? It's got to be somebody you know. Fucking 10 minutes later, there's a dude walking down the street on somebody's Ring camera, and they're like, "Oh, it's the wife's ex-husband. He's fucking in jail."
Right.
This is how you know this lady didn't get kidnapped, right? Like this, if she got kidnapped, we'd see her getting kidnapped. They fucking can follow the cameras down the block and into the next town. There's cameras everywhere. Get the fuck out of here. Just tell the truth. Anyway, it's voyeurism they got him on it.
North Carolina mom of 3 vanished 24 years ago. She was found alive, living a new life. So she kissed her kids. I saw this. Her kids were like 10. Kissed her kids. She was going out Christmas shopping, and then just
Christmas shopping,
and then like never saw again. And then a quarter century later, she's just living another life. That is a way of saying "fuck you, kids." There's not enough therapy for what they were very sad and feeling incomplete, but they thought at least their mom was taken from them. It turns out the mom took herself away from the kids. Hey,
they had to kind of know, right? Like,
you think she just hated those kids.
You know how like sometimes
I'm gonna go Christmas shopping. I'm sure you've been good this year.
You know, like sometimes it happens a lot in Florida where they're like, this waitress was on her way home from work and was never seen again. And then they're like, eventually somebody goes, 10 years later, they go, well, did we ever look in that pond right there next to the road? Like, should we look in there? And then they go, and then some scuba diver goes in there and goes, oh yeah, there's a car in here. There's a car in this pond that we never looked in 10 years ago. And there she is. And that's what happened. But so this is what these kids are hoping. They're like, oh yeah, mom probably ran in the old mill pond, and you know that's it. You know, she got swept away down the river and out to sea or something. Like, but they knew. They had to be, because you know she still probably talks to her sister or something. Like it's whispered about. You know, like they knew she was around somewhere.
I'm gonna say a terrible thing, but I can't not say it.
Okay.
She clearly departed before getting her youngest daughter braces, because she can eat an apple through a chain link fence. There's
clip it. Ed, if I say I realize that if I say clip it, that the StreamYard will because usually it does AI and just picks stuff to clip. But I know if I say clip it, it will. Now it's going to pick all this because I keep saying it. I got to stop saying it.
It's very terrible to say.
Oh yeah. She looks. Oh look, she's got glamour shots. Even Ed, remember?
I know the sequence. The sequence.
Yeah. There used to be a place in the mall where your mom would be like, "Hey, me and your big sister, we're gonna go to the mall and get our pictures taken like horse." Yeah. And they're like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Oh no, we're gonna look like, you know, like prostitutes in the Old West. You ever see Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood? Kind of like that, but fun. It'll be fun. We're getting our horror shots today."
Mommy going whoring.
Yeah, she knew.
I'm afraid I gotta end the show on a real sad note. Okay. I know there was a lot of anticipation, but unfortunately, Jimmy Fallon has canceled his planned pasta sauce line with pal Tommy Mottola as Epstein friendship is revealed.
It's okay. There's a whole bunch of things, Ed. First of all, who's buying Jimmy Fallon pasta sauce?
Like Tommy Mottola, Jimmy Fallon pasta sauce?
Like who wants a Jimmy Fallon? Like Jimmy Fallon, he's not Italian. Like what? Like is he known for his sauces? Like what? He
certainly not
feels
known
like
for comedy either.
Right? He feels like fettuccine Alfredo to me, you know. And Tommy Mottola, this guy had fucking Mariah Carey chained up in the basement. Yes, she was 19 when he married her, and like he's a known piece of shit, you know. And it's like, oh, hold on.
He was in the Epstein files.
Of course he was.
Vegas had that off the board already.
Yes, he was running Sony Music, Ed. You know, like he was just his pants. He never zipped up his pants because he was getting fellated by every new act that wanted to be signed the whole time. And Jimmy Fallon only just now realized that.
Yeah.
Get the fuck. Jimmy Fallon is one of the biggest fucking fakers there ever was.
The empty suit of all empty suits. Just somebody with, like, you think of the skill level, intellect that a guy like David Letterman had.
The best.
And then Jimmy Fallon is technically has the same job.
There's a great Bill Hicks bit
about Leno.
Jay Leno and how he puts a gun in his mouth on live TV. And it's that bit. Now, Bill Hicks didn't live, but had he lived, that bit works even better with Jimmy Fallon. Like,
just copy, replace, find and replace in Word document. Just the Leno for Fallon. It's the same shit.
Exactly. 100%. Okay, Ed. Fantastic work as always. I got a new computer. I don't know if if the sound translates coming off the board, the songs. It's weird because the songs don't work on Patreon, but the voicemails do. I don't know why. They're coming from the same source. It's confusing. Anyway, fantastic work. Ed was super funny tonight. I appreciate it. We ran the gamut of emotion here like we always do. For Ed Daly, my name is Brian Beckner. This has been episode number 612 of the Baller Lifestyle Podcast. We will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Daily and a man Jay Stu and Brian Beckner quick to dissect the week in sports.